We have an amazing panel. It's about recruiting partnerships with higher education. And we have Laura Moran, Orlando Harris, that he's on his way here, Dr. Gordon S. Swartz, Chris Brooks, and Monique Pascual. Let's give them a big applause.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Moran, and I'm the director of Unite SF, which is a program out of the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. And I'm with the Chamber because I've spent 17 years in business and 17 years in public education. And I'm really passionate about connecting business and education and creating more pathways for our young people in San Francisco to work in all careers, but especially in the tech field. Having started here myself at 23 years old and knowing all the opportunities I had, even as a young woman who was an out lesbian, I have, seen how much harder every single year it's become for underrepresented people to really get that leg up in our city, especially as the innovation culture has progressed. And today I wanted to bring together some of the really innovative people and programs from our local universities who are really committed to diversity and inclusion and are helping get our young people ready, not only from San Francisco Unified, but people from all over the Bay Area and California. You have this book in your hands. It's our first education report and resource guide. It tells you more about Unite SF. It's probably the only all-in-one place you can find out how to get engaged in all our higher ed partners, as well as what their STEM highlights are. But you get to hear directly from the great people doing the work today by being part of this panel. So I'm going to actually start the panel by having each person introduce themselves, say a little bit about who they are, why they're passionate about this, and tell you about the demographics of their institutions and the incredible programs. After each of our panelists speaks, hopefully Orlando Harris from SF State, who had a weather delay, I'm saving a seat for him in case he can join us at the last moment. But then at the end, each panelist will give you 3 takeaways that they hope you can consider as you think about partnering with all of us for our young people. So I'm going to start with Monique.
And we're just doing an introduction.
Yeah, no introduction, and tell a little bit about your programs.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Monique Pascual. I'm the Director of Apprenticeship at City College of San Francisco. Very happy to be here. Just a little bit about my background is in workforce development. I've worked for the City and County of San Francisco for 10 years on workforce training programs, so programs that are focused on low-income individuals and helping them get into career pathways in various sectors. I've been with City College for a year now in September, and some of the programs that I oversee within our apprenticeship department are Cybersecurity Apprenticeship, which I will talk a lot about today. We also have an apprenticeship program that focuses on automotive technology, and in construction trades. Our cybersecurity apprenticeship program is fairly new. It's a grant that we received from the California Community College Chancellor's Office to help increase and diversify cybersecurity pathways. It's a partnership with the Office of Economic and Workforce Development to connect apprentices, students to cybersecurity positions, so connecting with employers. So far, we have 7 employers who've joined, yay, and we're still counting. We have 20 apprentices that we just brought on this summer, so we're hoping to connect them to employers. And I really just want to I know there's a lot of folks who are saying internship, apprenticeship, is it the same thing? It's very similar. Internships are usually a little shorter in time. So an apprenticeship, cybersecurity apprenticeship, is 18 months. So that's a lot longer than probably your typical internship. And it is paid, and the student is working with you, the employer, and going to school at the same time. So a lot of the classes that we offer are online so that we can be flexible with the student's schedule. So we're really excited. We're hoping to get more employers on board, and I'd be happy to answer any questions later about our cybersecurity apprenticeship.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Brooks. I'm an associate dean at University of San Francisco. So that's not UCSF and it's not San Francisco State, but we're the one over by the park, but we also have a building downtown. I'm also a professor of computer science there. And we have quite a few programs that I think are probably of interest to folks in this room. We have bachelor's and master's programs in computer science and in data science. And we're just developing a School of Engineering. We're set to launch in fall of 20. So that's been occupying a lot of my time, and it's really fun because it's an opportunity to build something from the ground up and think about how 21st century education might work. And it's an opportunity to really examine diversity and inclusion at the beginning when you're creating the program, rather than trying to graft it on later on or figure out how to reverse engineer it. So we start with things like what would make our program be diverse and inclusive, and what does that even mean? Not only admitting this kind of students and hiring the kind of faculty we want, but then building in those support structures and those internships and the mentoring. I'm a big mentoring proponent, so I'll talk a lot about that. Both peer mentoring from students, from faculty, and then from people in industry who can help provide our students with the pathways to success. In terms of our demographics, we're about 2/3 women, which I think is great. And we're one of the most ethnically diverse universities in the country. About 24% of our student body is Latino or Latina. About 5% African American, which is lower than we'd like, but better than it has been. Economically diverse, about 1/3 of our students are Pell Grant recipients. So, that means that they're typically coming from families with limited means. About 1/3 are first gen as well. And so that brings me back to the mentoring point again, that it's really incumbent upon us as educators to make sure that we're helping our students not only get in the door, but get out the door. And I'll maybe end by saying that one thing we're very proud of is that we often wind up on a U.S. News and World Report list of A schools for B+ students. What I mean by that is we often have students, a lot of schools, you come in here and you leave here, right? You're great when you showed up and you're great when you left. And it's unclear what the value add is. We like to have students who maybe come in here and leave here. And that delta then we say is what we try to bring to the equation. So I'll sure I'll have more to say, but for now I'll pass the mic on.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gordon Swartz. I'm the Dean of the Agino School of Business at Golden Gate University. I think Golden Gate University is probably one of the best kept secrets in San Francisco. Let me just do a quick check here. How many people in the room are education or job change seekers or professional development seekers? And how many people do we have who are from organizations recruiting talent? So first of all, how many people are looking for education that is going to enhance your career? How many people are recruiting talent here? All right. Thank you very much. Just kind of getting a quick read on that. I think from the earlier comments in the main session, it was pretty clear that San Francisco is probably the most diverse, vibrant, rapidly changing global business hub in the world. I'm sure there are other cities that will argue about that, but it's hard to come up with another example that is leading in both technology, but other realms of business, and in terms of our social programs and our network in our communities. Golden Gate University has been part of that since 1901, when it was first incorporated as a college. It's a private university. It's always been oriented towards working professionals and adults. That has been consistent throughout its history. We have over 68,000 alumni from all walks of life throughout the Bay Area and California mostly. Our diversity of our programs and our student body reflects the fact that we've been embedded in such a close part of the San Francisco community for so long. We have more than a dozen master's level programs in business areas, many of which include very technology-oriented STEM components to them. We have an MBA program, we have a law school, we have a large undergraduate program. Again, in that undergraduate program, two degrees, soon to expand to 5, but that all of those programs include opportunities for a dozen or more concentrations, many of, again, which are responsive to organizations that are in the San Francisco Bay Area that have technology components to their businesses. And I'll just kind of comment one other thing about the relationships that we have with organizations that sponsor and hire our students, because most of our students are workers. The average age in our undergraduate programs and our graduate programs is plus or minus 1 year, 34 years of age. So a stellar example of someone who finished one of our programs early, graduated at 30 years old, Michelle Thornton-Gee, some of you may have heard of her. She graduated from our undergraduate program at 30. She went to work for a media company. She's now senior vice president at BET Entertainment. So coming out of East Bay, very, very challenging economic circumstances, and working through the challenges in her life to finish and work for technology organizations. One last point about the companies that we work with. Every company in the Bay Area is a tech company. Whether you're talking about a bank or you're talking about a retail organization, they have a huge demand for technology skills, people who can work with software, develop software, deal with tools, even if you're in human resources. And likewise, every one of the technology companies that we're talking about is also a generalist organization that needs people who can do human resources, who can do accounting, who can do tax. Many different pathways into those technology organizations. And Golden Gate University has all of that diversity of programs and all of those diversity of undergraduate and graduate students because of our connections with those kinds of organizations.
Thanks, Gordon. And we have our final panelists who joined us. I just want to say one little commercial for all these amazing people that are here. One of the things we do at the Chamber is really, especially since there are folks here who do recruit, we really try to promote all these great folks, and their contacts are in this booklet. To really work with them. They will do specialized programs with you and events to help you get access to their talent. I'll just say that what I found working with a lot of our businesses is that they don't recruit locally. They're doing a lot of national recruiting, and yet a lot of amazing folks locally are overlooked here. And a third of the San Francisco Unified students, who are very diverse, go to City College, and then another 500 go to SF State with Orlando, and many as well go to USF or Golden Gate, maybe as they're further in their career. So we're just hoping Orlando can talk to you about some of the really creative ways he's engaged with business around their business and STEM. And then we're just going to do a close of like 3 takeaways of how people can follow up with you and what these great folks have to offer you as recruiters. So Orlando, welcome.
Thank you, Laura. I spent a wonderful night at DFW, but somehow, some way, I guess I still made it here, so thank you. Again, my name is Orlando Harris, and I'm the Director for Career Services and Leadership Development at San Francisco State University. And this podium is,
Oh, yes, sorry.
I like to see the faces. And so with that, if you don't know, you probably already know, San Francisco State University has one of the largest, most diverse population of students anywhere in the country. As a matter of fact, as a point of reference, we said the same thing last year, that this year was our largest incoming number of freshmen. But what I'll also note is that over 40% of the incoming freshmen this year were Latino. And that's something that we're proud of. We're proud of the fact that, when you talk about diversity in talent, diversity in thought, diversity in beliefs, diversity in actions, I think San Francisco State really stands out. But within career services and leadership development, I've been responsible for that particular area over the last 20 months, I guess, 21 months. And what we've done now is really focus on how not only do we establish our relationships with you, we call you the, if you're hiring, you're the opportunity. If you're a student or alum, you're the talent. And so we believe that we're the office where talent and opportunity connect. And so because of that, what we do, we focus more on the one-to-one relationships as much as we can with our business partners to truly align with your needs and your objectives. And then we create customized outreach on your behalf. And so instead of you trying to figure out, do I need to go through all the student organizations? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? We start with the conversation about what are your needs and how do we work with you in order to accomplish those needs and objectives. And so in my past life in business development with some of the largest corporations in the world, like American Express and Xerox, I believe that it's about creating alignment. If I can have that conversation with you and I can better understand your needs, I believe that we can create alignment. And that alignment can be based on whatever the talent you need, from the executive level talent with our alumni population to the entry-level talent. And then how do we actually create customized, not only outreach, but in some cases customized programs specifically tailored towards your needs. And so I would love an opportunity to talk further about that at some later time today.
Great, good, thank you. So why don't we, we're short on time, but I just think for each organization, just your closing thoughts, and again, remember to mention some of the, I was just thinking of some of the great programs that each of you have, but I know particularly you've got a Women in Engineering, some of the things that you want folks to walk away knowing about how they can partner with you. So Monique, let's start again with you.
Right, okay. So I don't have a, can you hear me? Oh. So I didn't have enough handouts, but one thing that I do want to mention, and I can get more of these and maybe on some of the chairs, if you're an employer, we have a free online job board for you to post your jobs, and we give our students access to these job postings. So again, it's the blue little card, and we can connect, and I can get you a copy of this. We want you to come and meet our students. We can, set up a time for you to come on campus. We do events. We have Workforce Wednesdays where students get to engage with employers. You can learn, again, more about our students. Not only do we have our Cybersecurity Apprenticeship program that I mentioned, we also offer an Associate's of Science in Computer Networking and Information Technology, and various certificates. So maybe it's not an apprenticeship or an apprentice that you're looking to hire, but a full-time employee, and we have that at City College. So again, I encourage you to come and visit City College. And then also, you may have heard about Free City, which there should be some flyers or handouts on your chair. For San Francisco residents, we're offering free tuition through a partnership with the City and County of San Francisco for fall and spring semesters. So again, this helps with our diversify our pool, our applicants that you are all looking for. I really encourage you to come and meet with us. And as Orlando mentioned, we have tons of opportunities and ways that we can work with your organization. So if it's that you have employees and you want us to help with a workshop or train them in a specific area, we can come out and work with you and do that. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. So I'll say three things quickly. So the first is that, as Laura alluded, we have a number of student groups that, as I mentioned, we really like mentoring, and we really think that one-on-one connection is really important with students. So we have a Women in Science group, a Women in Computer Science. We have a new group that we just launched called Diversineers, which I think is really interesting, that brings together people from all different walks of life and across the spectrum to address issues around diversity and inclusion. Craig Newmark generously gave us a bunch of money to send 30 students to the Grace Hopper Computing Conference this year, and he's pledged to keep doing that. So we're trying to do what we can to get our students out there and develop them, and we could use your help with that. If you're interested in mentoring, if you're interested in being involved in that kind of activity, coming and talking to our students about what life is like in the tech industry or whatever field you're in, that would be wonderful. We're also very interested in project-based learning. I don't really think you learn a lot by sitting in a classroom necessarily. Right? That's sort of heresy as a professor to say that. But I think you learn by doing, and by doing real projects. And so we try to introduce as many real-world projects where we partner with either an NGO or with the city government or with a company as we can. And so if you have something that's not in your critical path and you thought, boy, I'd love to have a student work on that, and it's a great way to test drive the students out, see if you like them, see if everything fits, please come talk to me, because we have all kinds of different opportunities there. And then lastly, I'll add that our Senior Director of Career Services, Alex Hoffman, he's going to be here tomorrow at the Career Fair, and he's going to be trying to talk to all of you as well, I'm sure, to figure out how we can get our students into your organizations. So I would say my closing point is we have a lot of great people there, and just because we're not Stanford and Berkeley doesn't mean that we don't have a lot to offer as well. So come talk to me.
Yeah, I would have to endorse that idea that not being Stanford or Berkeley doesn't mean that there isn't a ton of talent, because many of the people that are pursuing degrees at our schools are already working in many of these organizations. They have developed skills and capabilities with those organizations, and they're advancing them. A couple of points. Looking for new hires is not the only way to solve the problem. Doing the talent development, whether it's somebody who already has a bachelor's degree and needs more skills in another area, a human resources professional who needs to know how to use human resources analytics, or someone who is working in accounting needs to be able to do business data analytics to detect fraud. All of these kinds of real-world applications that don't necessarily translate directly into something that you would find in a nice, neatly defined academic department. We're very flexible in trying to develop those things. All of our programs include internship, practicum type courses where students actually get their hands on real-world problems working with organizations, and I think that's really key to developing the talent in the real world. But doing it in a context where they can actually take those sort of technical or knowledge skills and put them to work in an organizational setting where you can get real value out of it. One of the other things that I'm really excited about working with this group, Unite SF, is that I think too often our different academic institutions see each other as competitors, and there are really an enormous number of ways to leverage the capabilities across these organizations. The cybersecurity program that's going on at City College, the apprenticeship program, is a fantastic feed for someone to be able to get a series of capabilities that they can put to work in an organization. Every single organization of any scale in San Francisco needs people who can worry about information security and do a good job. But those people also potentially want to go on and get a 4-year degree or a master's degree to be able to become more capable contributors. And I think working together through Unite SF, one of the things that we can do is to be able to put together pathways. I'll mention one I think very creative Bay Area example is an initiative by an organization called Study.com. It grew up in Mountain View. It's an online competency-based training tool. They are ACE accredited. They have a very, very low fee for many of their courses. We transfer with them. We're now engaged with them in a program called Working Scholars. Corporations around the Bay Area sponsor the entire tuition fee for people who are accepted into Working Scholars. And those Working Scholars are at many of the organizations, whether they're city organizations or whether they are corporations like Google or LinkedIn or others who are sponsoring this process. It's a way to make the investment in the education and the talent development pay off in a very big way for the corporate sponsors and for the people who are in those organizations. That is an example of combining something where a pathway would include working at Study.com, taking courses at the community college, transferring from the state university system or another private university, and bundling it together to be able to match the talent development and the educational processes to fit the individual in a way that's going to help them deliver the best value for their time and their energy invested in getting at higher education.
And I will try to do this within
2 minutes. It's on. Don't worry.
1 minute. So one of the, several of the really, really cool things that we've done is, one, over the last few years, I've actually worked with a family foundation, established a relationship with them, and they actually fund our office for career services and leadership development to the tune of $500,000 a year, cash. And that allows me to invest in other outreach, other creative opportunities that benefit our student and our business partners. And now we actually have content that's being delivered in the classroom. I work with some of the smartest consultants I know to deliver that particular content in the room. So a major donor who funds, I think I'm the only director in the CSU whose salary is 100% reimbursed by donor funding. So I like to say I pay for myself. So other than that, is the last thing, but not least, is the custom fellows programs, where we created programs specifically around companies' interests, and you have your own set of branded fellows within the university, and we can talk more about that.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, and really promote local talent. Take this guide, share it with others, and all the contact information you need for your next steps is here. Thanks very much. everybody.